Hello. Welcome to the Christchurch Fox Chapel podcast. I've got a name. Well, it's the fastest growing conservative, evangelical, charismatic, genealogical podcast. I've got a name. The entire Fox Chapel area. And I carry it with me like my daddy did. But I'm living the dream that he kept here. Rolling me down the highway. Rolling me down the highway. Going to be moving down the highway today, Ben.
Oh, we are rolling down the highway.
As the exiles get ready to return home, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, the second wave of exiles get ready.
Yeah, that's true.
To return home. Yeah, so I get confused by the chronology of between chapters 7 and 8, right? So chapter 7 is sort of like is a summary, right? Like in Ezra,
he does
like
this, doesn't he?
It's like they all got there, and now we get to chapter 8, and they're getting ready to head out. Now it's like, wait, did you do it or not?
It reads like a law report where you get like an executive summary in the first paragraph, and then it goes back and does a more detailed version.
Yeah.
So you almost get to glance ahead, don't you, to the big story, and then you get more granular and you zoom in.
Yeah. So we're zooming in.
We certainly are. Right?
We're really zooming in.
So at the moment, this part, we are actually still overseas or over dust. We're still in Persia, or Babylonia, as it's sometimes called.
Babylonia.
And we're getting ready to go home. And Ezra is I think the person actually speaking at this.
It's first person. It's written in the first person.
Yeah. Yep. And he says these are the heads of their fathers' houses. So this is all a long list of names.
And this is the genealogy of those who went up with me from Babylonia. Yeah. First person in the reign of Artaxerxes the king. Sometimes when I'm reading through the scriptures, I know it was originally written for an oral, like an audience that's hearing.
Yeah.
But there's so much repetition. It's like we've already heard like 4 times that this is the reign of Artaxerxes the king. It's interesting.
Yeah, and you wonder, is that some degree of deference to the king? Or is it just a really great marker? We might just have a heading at the top with today's date on it.
Yeah.
This is just a way of marking time, perhaps.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a long list of names, right?
You want me to are we going to read it, or? I
don't think we need to go through them all necessarily. Though we will read them all out in church.
Yeah.
But Ezra does call it a genealogy in verse 1. And then in verse 3, he says these are the people who are registered. And I understand it's actually the same word in Hebrew.
Register is the same as genealogy.
Same word, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And so this is a reference to, it can just mean enroll.
So it could mean this is the register of those who went up.
Yes.
And this is the register, those who are registered.
Yeah, but there's a sort of nuanced meaning. So it's not just like this is the phone book or the address book or whatever. Yeah. But moreover, there's something about the pedigree of a person that's certified by enrollment. So this is not just a list of who went. It's actually a list of the significance of who went. Why it matters what type of people they were.
It really does matter, because this is a project of, the whole project is God's people reclaiming their ancestral homeland. And so it matters that the descendants of those ancestors are in fact the people going back.
Yes, I think that matters greatly. Yeah. So there's some effort gone to here to establish who they actually are. Yeah. And not just who, but what kind of people they are. So there's a few characters stick out, right? And we can look at them maybe. And see, so Ithamar, right? For example,
Ithamar
is a son of Aaron. And you were talking about him in your sermon on Sunday, Aaron.
He's the first high priest, right?
Yeah, he's the first high priest of
Moses' brother.
And then all of the subsequent priests are going to derive their legitimacy through connection to him.
Yeah.
Through being of his genealogy.
So are there some Levites then who could be not qualified to be priests?
Yes, and we come to them actually.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of like a I don't know, almost like a footnote in the section that begins at verse 15, which we can get to in a minute.
Sure.
But the initial list here, which is chapter 8, verse 1 through to 14, right? It is thinking specifically of Levitical priests who have their descent from Aaron. And I think it's really relevant because if only priests are able to do the job of priest stuff in the temple, then if you don't have any legitimate priests, or you don't have enough legitimate priests, then you can't do any of the worship.
Yeah.
So it's really critical that they establish that we've got the right sort of people here who can operate this thing.
That's because God has specified the way that he is to be worshipped.
Yeah.
And so he has to be the one to provide for that worship.
Yeah, and if in a sense they are one of the many images of who Jesus will be, well, you can't just have any old person claim to be the Messiah.
Yeah.
It's got to be the right one.
Yeah.
So very particular. Like for me and you, right? It doesn't. Honestly, we don't really matter that much. I mean, it matters. We help people. We talk about Jesus. We think we're honest. So that's nice. But
we're not
really
like the mediator.
Not in the slightest.
Oh, I was once in a room with a group of pastors, and one guy, he was like talking about like how his role was like kind of interesting in the church, and he's like,
yes,
well like they do view me strange because like, well, I'm their mediator, and everybody, like all the other pastors in the room were like, it just got really quiet for a minute
because it's blasphemy.
Yeah, and I think they were this is a group of really good pastors, and they were very gentle in correcting
a young man.
This young man,
he was overstating
but like,
his significance a bit.
Yeah.
Well, wait, let's dig into that a little bit. Okay, right. So, first of all, context: a Levitical priest functioned in the temple and mediated the relationship of the people with God, making sacrifices.
He's a middleman, represents God before the people and the people before God.
Very much so. Yeah. There's some degree of holiness and set apartness that is specified.
Yeah.
And then they have ways of becoming pure and ceremonially purifying themselves. And then they as you say, they go between God and the people. And that's how the old covenant works. And the new covenant, Jesus describes himself amongst many things as our mediator and advocate with the Father. Or at least Hebrews calls him that. And he says things like, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. How can you say, show us the Father? Don't you know I'm in the Father, the Father's in me? He makes all sorts of comments about being a perfect temple, a perfect priest, a perfect sacrifice. The one who enables the liturgy, the liturgikos. He enables us like a candlestick in the temple. Jesus is an item that enables us to worship God. So he's all of it: priest, sacrifice, temple, candlestick, the lot. And because Jesus is our mediator, subsequent New Testament pastors, as you said in your sermon, don't have anything like the exclusive, necessary function as an Old Testament priest.
No, in fact, where New Testament pastors are, the word is presbyteros, which means old man or elder, which is... So
here's a problem, right? So presbyteros, which is a silly word, or at least a bit of a strange word, gets contracted into the word priest. Yeah, linguistically.
I'm interested in who first did that, actually.
Well, I think also pre-Reformation in Scotland, pre-Reformation, priest was the designated title for the Roman Catholic minister.
Yeah.
So I think it's understandable that people with that heritage and that common word would, by default, perhaps view us as priestly.
Yeah.
Our own prayer book kind of hedges its bets a bit. And it says that the ordination service is called the ordering of presbyters, also known as priests.
We're gonna try to make everybody happy, and not take a stand on this.
But I would say I would take one of two extreme positions to say either there's no priest but Christ, or all Christians are a royal priesthood.
Both are true,
right?
We are priests. In fact,
we're all priests. So right?
In that. Yeah, we all have a priestly role insofar as we participate in Christ.
Yeah. So I don't want to denigrate the role of a pastor. It's important, right? We get to exposit scriptures. We get paid to sit down and read about this stuff, think about it. We get paid to visit people. There's a particular job in preaching and teaching and pastoring.
Somebody's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it. But I don't. I think this idea that the whole church revolves around the priest is really, really awful. Mm-hmm. It's creepy. I think it leads to abuse.
It's bad pastoral practice because it disempowers people. It makes them kind of feel like they are like they're the cheerleaders on the sidelines of what's actually going on.
There's already enough stuff that puts spotlights on us, so any of that stuff, I'm against it. But it's important to understand here that in the Old Covenant, the role of a priest was all of those things, and it was essentially impossible to relate to God without one.
Because there had to be, the priest was needed in order to offer the sacrifice.
Yes.
And the blood was the means by which life is reconciled to God over sin. So
here they are camping on the days leading up to their wave of return.
Yeah.
They're about to set off back to the promised land, and they're doing a genealogy. They're establishing the pedigree of those there, to find out if they've got the right sort of people, because there's no point in returning home if you're not bringing a wave of the right sort of people.
And Ezra has to put things in order back in Jerusalem, because I think I didn't say this on Sunday, but there seems to be, there's a bit of a pall cast over chapter 7. You get the sense, it doesn't outright say it, but something's off. Something's gone wrong in Jerusalem.
Right.
And you just kind of pick up hints here and there.
And we know from several books that there were peaks and troughs of spirituality in the return.
Yeah.
Where they kind of have a frenzy of activity, and then they kind of neglect the house of God, or they get busy with their own stuff, or they get attacked. And so there are kind of little revivals and relapses within the revival.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, get it?
Revival, relapse.
Revival and relapse.
Revival and relapse.
We're actually going to get to a relapse later in this book, and I think it's really helpful pastorally, but we'll have to wait a couple of weeks for that.
Okay.
All right, so they are establishing that they have the right sort of people. And guess what we do? Because Ithamar, for example, I'm just picking on him because he's a great example.
Definitely pick on Ithamar.
Yeah, that's right. Well, there are others who are evidently descended from Aaron. And we know that because Exodus, I think 24 tells us.
Yeah.
So okay, we've got the right sort of bloke. It's Exodus 28. Sorry, I misspoke. And Phineas, not Phineas and Ferb, but
Phineas was the high priest, right?
Phineas is a grandson of I think of Aaron. Numbers 25. So we've got the right sort. Kulabunga. But then if we might jump around a moment, you raise a point. Mm-hmm. That the Levitical priests aren't the only sorts of Levites.
Yeah, there are other Levites.
Right.
And yeah, with different roles.
Right. And so let's just jump to verse 15, right? Because there's a subject heading here that says Ezra sends for Levites. So this is a good clue as to what's going on in this section here.
I gathered them to the river that runs to Ahava, and there we camped 3 days.
Could have been a canal, but never mind.
Yeah, okay. As I reviewed the people and the priests, I found there none of the sons of Levi.
Great. So he doesn't mean to say there's no Levites there because the priests are Levitical, but what he means is that we haven't got any regular Levites. So
non-priestly Levites.
Right. So the Levitical tribe, the tribe of Levi, was set aside in the Old Covenant to do all the God stuff.
To carry the temple furnishings, to prepare
the sacrifices, to administer the temple, to regulate the temple practices, to clean it, to run it. Basically, they were the managers of the temple.
The deacons.
I think so. I really do think that deacon is a wonderful word, because in verse 20, this whole section is about this group of people.
Yeah.
He calls them temple servants. And a servant or a deacon in New Testament Greek is a very similar word.
Yeah. So then I sent for Eleazar, Ariel, Shemaiah, Elnathan, Yarib, Elnathan. There's 2 Elnathans. Nathan, Zechariah, and Meshullam, leading men, and for Joyarib and Elnathan. There's so many Elnathans.
Who are men of insight. Yeah, there's a lot of Elnathans. There's Elnathan, there's other Elnathan. I was in a home group once with 3 people called Paul, and we called them Paul, other Paul, and other Paul.
Oh, that's great.
but this happens sometimes in Scripture. It's a very popular name, evidently, and these are men of insight. I don't know whether that's saying that they're not as important as the leading men, or whether it's saying they're actually more intelligent than the leading men. But in other words, he's getting the right sort of people again.
Yeah.
They're the right sort because they're sons of Levi, so they are legitimate temple servants.
Yeah.
And they're the right sort because they've got the right character and calling and competency to do this job as well. And you can't have a temple filled with priests if you don't also have the temple servants, because it's not going to work.
The logistics are not going to work at all.
No. And in that respect, you can make an analogy with the church, and you can say, me and you get to stand at the front and make each other laugh while everyone watches, often quite sullen.
Take Bridget out of this equation.
And what happens?
No one uploads this podcast.
What happens with that Nikki? Well, we don't get paid.
Don't get paid.
Our donations don't get processed. We don't file anything to the IRS. We lose our tax exempt status. The vestry has no clue whether we're up or down, and so they can't make any financial decisions, and that is their only job.
Take Tammy out. There are kids crawling up the backs of the pews, screaming so no one hears the sermon.
Take Robert out, and you've got me playing the Kyrgyz nose flute.
Actually, that would be interesting. I'd like to hear that, but
it's moving.
Yeah, I'm sure it is moving.
It's very moving.
It gets people to move away. They need temple servants, but it's not as maybe as attractive to pursue that.
No, but so now we've got again, right? He goes to this. He was very careful genealogy, very careful enrollment list to make sure we've got the right people here. And he discovers, actually, we don't have the right people. We've got the priests, we don't have the temple servants. So we're deficient. We can't move back with this because it's not enough. It's not the right people. So there's a kind of, let's pause, let's have a think about it. Let's gather the right sort of people. Let's see what we're going to do. There's even some sense in some of the scholars, we probably wouldn't have time to talk about this in the sermon, but Derek Kidner, who's written a great book in the Tyndale series of commentaries.
Derek.
Again, you become very interested in the size of scholars' spectacles, but he is a man of big glasses and
I'm looking at
even bigger collars. His 70s is definitely his ethic.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
He's got some really okay. I'm picturing. He looks a little like John Piper actually, but
he does. Yeah,
but with even worse teeth.
Well, he's British.
Is he? Oh, okay.
I assume so by the teeth. But he says, Kidner's fascinating. Kidner says, basically, being a Levite kind of sucked, right? So it wasn't great. For a start, they didn't have any property. The Levitical tribe didn't have land. They were to be looked after by everybody else.
Yeah, I'm sure that worked out real well.
Yeah, I mean, they lived in clergy housing, and it's not always the best thing. So they have this, it's not the easy job. There's a lot of getting up early to deal with blood. It's just a messy, difficult, hard, thankless job.
Yeah.
And he posits the idea that when the people of God were taken away into exile in the first place under Nebuchadnezzar, they established themselves in Babylon. And actually it was a fairly pluralistic society. And numbers of these Jews, particularly leading ones with brains like these, men of insight, were able fairly quickly to adapt and just become members of the secular society in Babylonia.
Okay.
And as they did so, they prospered. And so Ezra is saying to them, right, guys, you've got a nice detached house here. You've got 2 cars. You've got a 401k. You're doing pretty well. You're a VP, and probably you're going to be the CEO in the next few months. You're making it. You've got 17 pretty wives, and you can kill your ugly ones because it's Babylonia. Yeah. And it's happy days.
Yeah.
Who's with me now, right? We're going to go to this weird canal. We're going to sit there for 3 days. We'll probably fast, right? Then we're going to trudge through 900 miles of dust. And when we get back to this place full of owls and crickets and hostile people, you get to meddle with blood.
Yeah.
And neekity breekity neek. Like, no,
who
thank
wants
you.
To do this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sign me up. Like it's like, hey guys, we're all making a colony on the moon now.
Yeah.
Who's in?
Yeah. We've seen Total Recall. No, thank you. My face will explode.
We've seen Total Recall.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
I didn't catch that, but I love it. Yeah. So that's a great movie. Total Recall.
Yeah.
Any of that era of Arnold Schwarzenegger is fantastic.
We watched them all with Ben one Christmas. We just did them all, and that kind of genre. Escape from New York, RoboCop, the whole lot.
RoboCop.
Quality movies from the 1980s.
Yes.
Who wants to come to a moon base? Who wants to leave their fancy properties behind?
Get up early to slaughter animals.
Yeah.
That you don't even get to
and stay late to clean them away. You can eat some of them. Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily an attractive prospect. And so Kidno's just positing this idea. I don't think there's anything in the text to necessarily get us there. But it's a really, really good insight. And it checks.
Well, also, if you're in Babylon in exile for 70 years, and there's a little bit of murkiness about what tribe you come from, you're explaining to foreigners, it's easier to say, like, I'm a priest than like, well, I'm technically from the family that's the temple helpers.
Yes,
like,
yes. Yeah.
Like, nobody wants to hear that. So I wonder how many sons of Levi like kind of tried to make themselves into sons of Aaron.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny how Ezra actually calls them the sons of Levi, then he calls them ministers, then he calls them temple servants, almost as though he's clarifying what they actually are.
Yeah.
So here we go. Now we've got two types of people. We've got the Levitical priests descended from Aaron. They're legit, and without them, you can't have a relationship with God. And now we've got the Levitical temple servants. They are legit, and without them, they're from Levi. You can't have a functioning temple either. So all the right people. One more. All right. So we're back to this first list of names.
Yes.
And I just noticed a really, really important name. Just after Ithamar, we have the sons of David.
The sons of David.
So we're not anymore in the sons of Aaron. We're not in the Levitical priests. They're not the sons of Levi generally. These are not the people who work in the temple. But these are people who are descended from the king.
220 of the temple servants whom David and his officials had set apart?
Yeah. So these are David-type people. So now we have Davidic descendants too. And here's what you can't have. You can't have a covenant without a king.
Interesting.
So there's the restoration of some of the royal line. It doesn't mean say that we're going to necessarily reestablish the throne yet.
But it's going to get carried forward
into Jesus.
Yeah, into Jesus.
So the Jesus stuff, which is the covenant, doesn't happen without a king. And from their perspective, at one point, it looks as though the kingly line has gone. I mean, I know there are descendants of David who are actually already there in Jerusalem. They're already there. We've seen them,
etc.
We already have them. But there's some more coming. So the more the merrier. Yeah. Let's fill this place with people who are genetically descended from King David. That's a good idea.
They've come out of exile. They've seen God perform this remarkable fulfillment of his promises.
Right.
They're still longing for Messiah.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
And the Messiah has to come from the line of David.
So if we're talking about revival, we've got a revival of the sacrificial aspect of the priesthood. We've got which is a mediatory role. We've got a revival of the actual functional temple servants needed to make any of it work practically.
Yeah.
And a revival, or at least a bolstering of the Davidic line as well.
The kingly promise.
So all the things you need, not only to function now, today, in the Old Covenant, but also in the future to lead to some better, newer covenant, some better priest, some better sacrifice, some better temple, some better king is right here gathered by this canal.
It's almost like a lawn that has been scorched and is being reseeded.
I just did that last night.
That's a very
suburban example. This is because of my manure spreading last night.
You reseeded your lawn?
Just did it last night.
Wow.
It's the season.
Kudos to you.
Thank you.
Good. It is the season. 'Tis the season to reseed your lawn.
My manure. So there's a real significance to this, and I think here's a point, right? When we get to lists like this, they look a bit boring. They're really hard to pronounce, some of these names.
Yeah.
They're long. You're going to read it out in church and go like da 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 and da 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 and da 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 da, begat, the son of something, the son of something. Why do that? Because if this was the only bit of Ezra chapter 8 we had, right, from this genealogy alone, we would know that God's doing three things. That God's restoring the priesthood, that God is restoring the Levitical temple service, and that God is restoring the king. Right? There's quite a lot of stuff to know.
Those are massive. And he never says that outright, but it's in the details.
It's in the detail. It's in the detail.
All scripture is breathed out by God and useful.
Yes. Yeah. And not just generally, but specifically for training and in righteousness, specifically for reproof.
Well, I think it does show us into the window into the character of God, who, even when you're not aware of it, provides all the necessary conditions in advance for the thing that he wants to do.
So I'm going to make an observation now. Right. They've gone away into exile.
Yeah.
They've suffered. They've been defiled. They've seen their king have his eyes put out. They've seen what looks like all of his kids killed off.
Yeah.
The priests have been defiled. The Levites have gone and bought Xboxes and settled down. And, oh dear, it looks like everything's fallen to pieces.
Yeah.
But from this list, we learn 3 important things. Okay. Number 1, God's faithful to his own, evidently, because he's bringing them home. Number 2, he's sovereign over his enemies, evidently, because in this defiled place, all the right people have been preserved by a pagan king who didn't know any of this stuff and hated them.
Yeah.
And therefore, if God's faithful to his own and sovereign over his enemies, and we know that from the list, revival must be on the way.
Yeah.
So every major theme from the book of Ezra that we've zoomed in on, every major
genealogy,
it's right here in a list of boring names in this phone book.
Yeah. Along with 3 different El Nathans.
Yes. Well, that's the thing, isn't it, about this phone book? It's a bit confusing.
There's a lot of El Nathans.
There's going to be a lot of crossed lines.
Yeah.
You call the wrong guy.
Shout out if you name your kid El Nathan. So,
Maybe they pronounce them differently. Maybe there's El Nathan and El Nathan.
El Nathan.
And El Natan.
El Natan. Actually, they're probably all El Natan.
Oh, really?
Probably.
All right. Great stuff. Really cool. Gone through the list.
Okay.
Now, a normal bit.
The juicy part.
Verse 21.
Oh, I love this
normal
part.
Stuff.
This is one of my favorite parts of the book of Ezra.
Is it?
Yeah, I
just
love
because
this.
it's so clear, or what? What do you like about it?
Well, let's read it and then we'll talk about it.
I'll read it. You tell us what you think. Then I proclaimed a fast there at the river Ahava, could have been a canal, that we might humble ourselves before our God to seek from him a safe journey for ourselves, our children, and all our goods. For I was ashamed to ask the king for a band of soldiers and horsemen to protect us against the enemy on our way, since we told the king the hand of our God is on us for good, on all who seek him, and the power of his wrath is against all those who forsake him. So we fasted and implored our God for this, and he listened to our entreaty.
Yeah. I mean, here's what I love. I love that Ezra has dug himself into a hole by touting the name of God, and he's fixed his whole existence on this massive claim. It depends on God showing up.
He said God's faithful to his own, he's sovereign over his enemies.
I mean, and...
Because look, he says, the hand of our God is for good is on us and all who seek him, i.e. he's faithful to his own.
And the power of his wrath is...
against all those who forsake him, he's sovereign over his enemies.
Yeah.
So Ezra has clearly boasted to the king over and over again 2 of the key points of his book.
And now he's being, like, maybe, let's just assume that, like, somehow he was a little disingenuous in that earlier on or something like that, maybe. Just
oversold it a bit.
Yeah. But now... he's being called, his chips are being called, because now he has to, they've got to make this 900-mile journey
through bandit
country. And he's like, well, I told him God would protect us.
I can't now go and say, also, can I have, please?
Just kidding. I don't really believe in this God. So, like, I just think that to be a Christian is to stake your existence on the faithfulness of God.
Yes.
And you find these opportunities come along in which you can do that, and it's a testimony. Your life becomes a testimony.
It's a really helpful point.
And I think that risk is a very godly thing. The Bible is always calling us to risk.
Well, and it often shows us that the real risk is not to risk at all.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Jephthah, the Phil Collins of the Old Testament, who makes this rash vow. He tries to bolster the work of God by adding a little bit of a silly vow to things, and it costs him. When often we take steps to protect ourselves in case God fails. We actually end up on our own.
Phil Collins, the Old Testament. Yeah, no, it's not a question. It's not that all risk is good. Yeah. It's the right risk. It's taking a risk, staking yourself on God's name and his reputation. There's so many, I've heard this from several agnostics and people who have kind of deconstructed their faith. And the ultimate thing that they said was that, like, well, we all talk a big game, but he doesn't actually show up. And I kind of wonder, like, did you actually did you stake it on him? And then did you wait? Did you
step out in faith?
Did you, because I mean, my experience, I've had that experience where I've staked something on it, and that's by God's grace. And he almost never showed up the way I expected him to show up, but he always showed up.
It's very reminiscent of a key passage to do with King Saul, where King Saul is waiting for Samuel to return, right?
Because to offer the sacrifices before they go to battle.
Yes, but Samuel doesn't arrive in Saul's timing. And so Saul, jumping up and down, looking at his watch, finally concludes, well, we need to do the sacrifice or it won't work, so I better do it.
We're all going to die.
Yeah.
So
he does it.
He does it.
In his own timing. And because it's a grave sin. And guess who shows up?
Because he's made himself a priest. He transgressed the way that God pronounced and tried to make himself a priest.
He made himself a priest.
So there's a waiting on the Lord. And so they fast and they pray.
And I've got something here which is quite striking to me. Clearly, this passage says the hand of our God is for good on us. So that means what? That God's faithful to his own, and the power of his wrath is against those who forsake him. Clearly, that means he's sovereign over his enemies. And so we know revival is on the way.
Yeah,
I'm going to suggest that actually revival has arrived. Here. Because look what they do.
They fasted and prayed.
They fast and they pray and they trust in God and they don't trust in themselves and their own schemes and they witness. That's a revival.
Fast, pray, go.
So the revival is actually taking place in the dust of the defiled land, not in Jerusalem. They're revived before they set off. They're revived in this dark place of dust and defilement and horror. The revival isn't a party in the temple with abundant stuff, although obviously that's part of the revival. The revival actually begins in this very shallow place of grimness.
They return before they return.
Their hearts have returned long before their bodies have.
Yeah.
And so this is helpful because if one is looking at one's own life and saying, I'm hearing a lot of talk of revival in this church right now, and I don't have a revival. Like I'm just not feeling that close to God. I don't feel like singing these songs like other people do. We say hallelujah, but I don't really feel hallelujah. Actually things are bad right now at work or in my marriage or whatever, my home. I don't really have enough resources to do what I want to do. This doesn't feel like a revival. I feel actually pretty bereft.
We were just talking to someone just this week who said, I've been hearing all this talk of you guys preaching about revival, and before I even worried about Fox Chapel or the church, I've just been praying in my own heart. I need a revival in my own heart.
And there you are.
And as you said that, I just thought to myself, I need a revival in my own heart.
Yeah, you need a revival.
That's what you're like. Yeah, Ben, you do need a revival.
You're pretty revived.
We're revived every day, but always every day I need a revival.
Yeah. And revival often looks small and it often takes place in the wrong place. So for all of the obsession with getting everything right in this passage, the right priests, the right Levites, the right kingly people, there's something amazing happening that's redemptive in the wrong place. The revival is here at the river Ahava, 900 miles from home. And it happens when they humble themselves before God rather than shamefacedly trying to fix things themselves.
Yeah, they stop their scheming. And they just stop and fast and implore God, and he listens. They can change their minds, but they can't change Ooh.
I've got a dream. I've got a dream.
Jim Croce was there, of course.
Always.
I know I could share it if you want me to. If you're going my way, I'll go with you. Bend me down the highway. Don't let me down.
Well, this has been a podcast of Christchurch Fox Chapel. We're so glad that you joined us. Thanks for stopping by.
Stay classy.
Pass me by.